First and foremost, this video is for the girls, and this video is for the gays. Anyway, hello. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Are we happy? Are we prideful? I'm happy. I'm happy for two reasons. One, I get to talk about Just Be today. That's the purpose of this video. I will be sitting here for an unforeseen amount of time talking about Just Be. But also, I'm on vacation now. I took a whole week's vacation. I'm not going anywhere. And we're on day one of my vacation, and I'm so happy. I'm also wearing Beyonce merch. This is my Cowboy Carter hoodie. There you go. You can see the Cowboy Carter aspect of it. There's more on the back. We're not gonna talk about how much money I paid for this hoodie, okay? But I felt like I needed Beyonce merch for Pride. If I'm doing my Happy Pride video, here's my history of Just Be, I needed Beyonce in some way. And I didn't have anything from Renaissance, because when I went to the Renaissance concert, I was making half of the salary I make now, so I didn't buy anything. And now I make more money, so I bought merch, and I'm wearing the merch in honor of Beyonce, but that's not my only concert thing that I want to mention right at the start. I was actually, fun fact about me and Just Be, I was supposed to be at, like, one of the final pre-coming out shows. I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to be at the Seattle show, and then I got ill again, because I've been ill 10 times in the last calendar year, and I had to miss it, and I am despondent. It's been months. I'm still not over the fact that I didn't get to see Chest live. And don't you worry, I will spend monologues on Chest in probably around an hour, but first we have to do my standard shout-out slide. We have to give credit where credit is due. First, Miss Smoky Glow, I hope she's doing well. She has vanished once more. I hope she's okay. I hope she's doing well. I hope she's thriving. She used to make Evolution of. That's why she's here. She used to make these Evolution of videos that had me in a chokehold. And granted, I have sort of spiraled into my own version of, dare I say, psychosis, but they were my original inspiration. Her Evolution of videos were what originally inspired her to start making these deep dives into K-pop groups. And I will be linking both her channel and Evolution of playlist in the description. They're very different, to be clear. She mainly does YouTubers. She did a couple makeup companies, but she mainly does YouTubers. They were fascinating. Like, I would objectively recommend them, but, like, they'll be in the description if you want to watch them. Secondly, the bestie. I would like to open the bestie's shout out with an apology, because she was the one I was going to go to Just Be live with, and she loves Chest just as much as I do. So I would like to apologize to the bestie that she also did not get to see Chest live, because I'm despondent about it, so I would assume that she is as well. I would like to apologize to the bestie. I'm sorry my illness got in the way of seeing Chest live. I would also like to give her credit for being the one to tell me to make these as slideshows. I got a lot of comments in the last video that were like, I really like the format of the slideshow. Don't thank me. Thank the bestie. This was her idea. Anyway, lastly, my Bean. I am sorry, Bean. I would like to open my Bean section with an apology as well. I'm sorry, Bean. I did forget to call you yesterday. I'll try and call you today. But either way, Bean, light of my life. The only reason I'm actually able to make these, like, long videos, if you enjoy the fact that I'm now sitting here every single month making this kind of video, making a deep dive into, I feel like, an unforeseen group. I feel like every single month, no one could have guessed the group I'm going to do, except for my EXO one. EXO one I did tease existentially, but I feel like I'm just sitting here slowly going crazy. You're not going to be able to guess who's next month. Next month could not be more different from Just Be, but, like, everyone say thank you to Bean. That's the point. If you enjoy my history ofs, say thank you to Bean, and say thank you to the bestie, and say thank you to Smoky Glow. Okay, that covers shoutouts. Now we're going to do disclaimers. I'm trusting us all to be normal, okay? I am trusting us to be normal, and yet I'm going to cover my bases just in case. First disclaimer, I'm not really a Just Be stan. I love some of their songs. Like, there are going to be songs on here that I will go on tirades about, and we will get to that. But this isn't going to be like my EXO video, right? Like, a video where I could go on monologues on end that would put, like, the Pearl monologue to shame for how good their discography is. That's not going to be what this video is. This isn't even really going to be like my Hypen video, where it's going to be like, I know most of the lore I'm going to discuss. This is more like my hot video. I feel like that's the best analogy I can come up with, is this is going to be like my hot video. I know general facts, I know some things, but I am mainly going in blind. Item 2. I'm not covering everything, okay? I say this in every video, and people always get upset with me. I'm not sitting here giving you every single thing just because I've ever done in their career. Mainly because A, I don't think that's a good use of my time, and B, I don't care about a lot of things they've done. I don't want to have to sit down and watch every single variety show they've been on, because that's not a good use of my time. Instead, I cover big things, right? I cover releases. I cover things that I care about mentioning, right? Like if I were to be watching my own history of, when I was making the history of, it was the things that I was like, I feel like this needs to be included versus I don't think this needs to be included. And I swear to God, people always comment that I missed something and I don't want to hear, I don't care. Last thing, opinions will be shared at times. This is mainly in reference to their music. However, I do need it known. Like when I say that Daddy's Girl is a masterpiece, that does not mean you have to love it. It simply means that I do. Alrighty, that covers that. Now let us meet the members of Just Be. And as always, we will be going in age order. Which means that first up we have somehow the oldest member of this group, Lee Gung. He was born on February 2nd, 2001 and serves as our lead vocal. Now, I say somehow the oldest because I was introduced to this little icon back on Island. This is him on Island, if you were wondering. He was on Island, the absolute hellscape that it was. So it just kind of blows my mind that now he's the oldest member of his group. Like, he was such a baby back then. Other Gunu fun facts, back when he was on Island, he performed Chained Up by Vix, the epitome of taste, dare I say. And also, his mom is an English teacher, which means he speaks good English. I'm existentially jealous of multilingual people. I think I've learned this as I age. I wish I spoke another language. Everyone, shut up. It's time to talk about Bane, aka Song Byung-hee. If you would like to be formal, he's Bane. He was born on May 4th, 2001, and serves as our main vocal and lead dancer. Bane is also our queer icon. He would come out as gay following the group's LA show, which was unfollowed by an Instagram post, like a whole post. And we're going to talk about it more, but for now, I will simply be saying happy Pride to Bane and only Bane. I hope he's having a phenomenal month. Until we get to his coming out in like an hour, we're going to talk about his pre-debut lore. He was on Under 19. This is him from Under 19. I did watch Under 19 when it aired, and I had to go back, and I had to find him, and I audibly screamed at one point. He was a baby. Other Bane fun facts include being an insane language freak. He allegedly speaks 4 languages. How? Literally how? I don't have time to mentally dissect that. We need to move on. He also hates the heat. He gets me, okay? It's summer. I'm conveniently filming this on like a dramatically cooler day. However, we recently had a heat wave in Seattle where it was over 80 degrees for like 4 straight days. I wanted to die. I don't do heat. He gets me. Okay, we see each other. He also is a black tea drinker as opposed to a coffee drinker, which I find amusing because in my notes, when I took these notes, I was on a black tea kick. So I was like, he's like me for real. I'm becoming a black tea drinker in my old age, right? I'm sitting here with 30 fluid ounces of coffee in my lap. Like, I think my black tea phase already died out in the 2 weeks between when I wrote this and now. Okay, next we have our first Jimin, Mr. Im Jimin. He was born on May 22nd, 2001, and serves as the leader, main dancer, and lead vocal. Jimin definitely has the most prolific pre-debut lore to discuss. First and foremost, he gives us our 3rd distinct survival show. He appeared on The Fan in 2018 with Yeji from ITZY. They're not, like, friends or anything, but that's just a weird crossover to me. However, the reason Jimin is prolific is not because of the Yeji lore, it's because this man had a whole pre-debut solo career. He has 2 solo mini-albums to his name that he released before Just Be debuted. Neither one was, like, big, like, neither one sold that much, but they are both good. They're both pretty classic pop albums. This is the second one. This is the cover of his second mini-album. This is the better one, okay? If you're gonna listen to one of them, listen to Youth. It is better. The first song on that album, Sold Out, is actually really good. It has really cool music that I really like. In general, though, these aren't like a missing piece of the Just Be puzzle. It's not like their catalog is more cohesive if you've heard them. It's not like you're missing out on anything if you haven't heard them. However, if you're a pop music enjoyer, you won't be disappointed by these albums. Okay, we've been talking about Jimin a lot. We need to move on. I'm giving him one final fun fact, okay? He started with Bumgyu. This is Bumgyu of Tuxt fame. People actually, in my Unhyped video, I feel like I need to clarify this. A lot of people call out my pronunciation of Tuxt. I call them Tuxt. It's so much more fun. Anyway, he's friends with Bumgyu. of Tux. I bring this up entirely as an Insane Bum You fan. You can judge me for that. I don't care. Anyway, on to our next Jimin Hugh. He was born on October 11th, 2001 as Jimin. Like, his original name was Chu Jimin. That was his name. That's why he's our other Jimin. He also had the stage name JM. He changed both of those in 2024 when he legally changed his name. Now, he would also go on Island back in the day when Gonu went on Island. You know, there's one season of Island, so, like, he went on Island when Island aired. Obviously, he did not make it in, because he's in our Just Be video, not the Enhypen video. But he did go on Island. Some fun facts. First and foremost, this man is a runner. Good for him. I don't have the stamina, but I respect him for it. More importantly, the one I'm going to choose to highlight in this moment, he said he's funny. Here's the thing. A lot of people who have to tell you that they're funny, I already question how funny you are. And then at one point he said that his humor comes from his hip-hop spirit. I'm gonna choose to believe that's a really fucking old quote. I didn't write down where I read that. I'm just gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that's a really old quote, because I don't even know it. Next, the one, the only, Jung Doyeon. He also goes by DY. That is his stage name. I personally hate it, but that is his stage name. Either way, he was born on February 21st, 2002, and so he was our main rapper and main dancer. Doyeon, like Bane, went on Under 19, and unlike everyone else in this video, he actually won his show. And I don't just mean like he made it into the final group. I mean, he got first place on Under 19. Granted, no one watched Under 19, but that does mean he debuted as the center of Won the 9 for their, like, 2 years of activity. Now, this is not a Won the 9 video. Maybe one day. Maybe one day if you're nice to me, because I did stand Won the 9 during their era, so like maybe one day. But until then, we're talking about Doyeon. So first and foremost, he's a C9 trainee. He did allegedly train with Apex. He's also allegedly still friends with them. I don't know. I do know he's friends with Jung of P1 Harmony. I think they actually look similar. I know I'm deranged by this. I feel like they were two bitches who looked similar and linked up. Anyway, last but not least, we have Sung. He was born on September 3rd, 2002. This is our lead dancer and maknae. Sung was also the only member to not appear on a pre-debut show as far as I am aware, which means I'm only just going to give you his fun facts. First, he choreographs a lot of Just B's songs. Good for him. Iconic behavior. He also has a black belt in Taekwondo. Great to learn. And also, people think he looks like Jackson of GOT7 fame. Here's the thing. I exposed myself in literally the last slide for my deranged lookalike thoughts, and I do get it, but this is like out of nowhere. Like, I want you to look at this man's face. I should have put a picture of Jackson on this slide, actually. Now that I think about it, it's too late now. Look at this man's face. Then Google a picture of Jackson. They literally look nothing alike aside from both being men. I don't want to end on that. I'm giving you one more fun fact, which is that his favorite animal is a gorilla, which did remind me of the time that I was at the zoo with the bestie, and we saw like a newborn gorilla, and it was just running around like free, like it was really cute, okay? It was a really cute baby gorilla. Anyway, that's all the members, which means we can officially begin the timeline of Just Be. Okay. Now, the tale of Just Be would begin in June of 2021, when we would get our first glimpses of the group as the brand new group from the newly established label Bluedot, which begged a question I have never once asked. Who the fuck is Bluedot Entertainment? Some quick lore I gathered from a couple Google searches. Bluedot is a sub-label of Lowen Entertainment. You know Lowen. If you've streamed a K-pop song, it was probably distributed by them. Lowen owns a bunch of labels. They own Starship, which a lot of people forget. They own Edam, which IU is under. They owned IST for a while, which was like the boys label. They sold that a few months ago, though. I realize in retrospect, I should have known Just Be was under Lowen from their link up with Atbo. But, yeah, Just Be was under Lowen this whole time. I actually did not know that until I started making this video. Back to Just Be. Following some various standard pre-release things, we would get the release of Just Burn on June 30th, Just Burn being the group's debut EP, along with its lead single, Damage. Now, there's two ways to look at the sales of Just Burn. One way is negative. You can look at it and say it peaked at number 17 on the charts and it sold 20,000 copies in 2021. Okay, like that's pretty abysmal by pretty much every metric. However, I'm choosing to be positive here. I'm going to say that for your first release from a brand new boy group, from a brand new label with really no fan base to speak of, That's pretty strong. It's pretty good. Like, for a frame of reference, that's more than Aunt's debut album sold. Turning our attention to the title track, let's talk about Damage. Now, unsurprisingly, Damage did not chart anywhere, and spoilers, Just Be is not a charter. They've literally never charted on any major charts. However, it did do quite well on streaming. The music video for Damage has more than 14 million views, an insane number when you take into account the fact that their album itself had only sold around 20,000 copies. Spotify numbers are also quite strong. Damage is by far the group's most streamed song, but it has more than 5 million streams. Now, there are a couple reasons Damage did so well, because, spoilers going forward, this is the most successful song Just Be has from a digital standpoint. And there's a couple of factors that I really consider the main reasons for this. Reason number one is just that this is their debut, right? Like, I'm on record as a lover of a good debut because that's when the path is wide open. You can go anywhere with your debut. If people are going to tune into you out of sheer interest, it is going to be with your debut. And there are a lot of groups that, like, didn't blow up future down the timeline that had their biggest hit as their debut, and Just Be is one of those. However, given my history on this lovely website of youtube.com, I would be remiss if I did not mention the other factor I consider into why Damage specifically did so well. Its producer. Yeah, this song and some other songs on the album were produced by Jungkook of BAP fame, and I can personally say, like, from my experience, I remember when this song came out, when this album came out, and I learned Jungkook produced it. I, as an insane BAP stan, did go listen to it for that exact reason, and I'm sure I was not alone. Also, if I can be deranged for like 5 seconds, as, again, an insane BAP stan, I'm of the opinion that the BAP sound, specifically like their early sound, like their 2012, 2013 sound, is quite honestly the blueprint for what a lot of fourth generation boy group music is. So having Jungkook, who produced most of BAP's work, come in to produce a fourth generation boy group is crazy smart. I'm honestly surprised that this move was reserved for Just Be. Like, I would have thought that this would have happened years earlier. Back to Damage though, let's talk about Damage as a song for a second. Damage is good. I like Damage. It's sort of just a better than average fourth generation boy group song. It does sound like a BAP song. Like, if this song had been re-recorded by the members of BAP, put on a BAP album from like 2013, you wouldn't be really missing much. It has a lot of that element, but it does also have the loud elements of like fourth generation. The main thing that makes it a good song, it has a great chorus and good production. The rest of the album is also solid. There are some misses on here, notably the last 2 songs. However, the first 2 songs are good. My Way, I do really like. However, for our golden B-side, our inaugural golden B-side, I'm giving it to the album's opener, Getaway. For the unaware, if you haven't seen my other history, at least recent ones, my golden B-side is my favorite B-side on an album. It does not have to be the best, okay? There are golden B-sides where I think a different song is better on that album, but it is my favorite song, so it gets to be the golden B-side, right? That's my golden B-side, my favorite, and also I would say the best B-side on here is Getaway. It was also produced by Jungkook, and it has this power to it that I can't explain, but like, it's so good. Jungkook really did just kind of eat that shit up. Now, the main chunk of promotions for Damage would run through July, but we're actually going to fast forward to October when we would get the announcement of the next Just Be album, and sure enough, on October 27th, we got Just Beat, the group's first single album. Right off the bat, this album would sell a lot better than their debut had. It sold 30,000 copies, and also earned Just Be their first top 10 on the Gaon album charts, where it peaked at number 9. And I know neither one of these numbers is crazy, especially because my last video before this was a history of Enhypen. They sell 30,000 copies in like 10 seconds. However, for a group like Just Be, whose debut album had peaked at number 17, who had sold 20,000 copies with their debut, jumping up to 30,000 like that is really impressive. And then there's the title track, TikTok. This song was not as good as their debut. I'm so sorry. This chorus makes me crazy, and not in a good way. I'm on record on this channel as someone who just doesn't really enjoy an overly repetitive chorus, and that's what this song is. Like, the TikToks in the chorus make me want to cry and scream and stab someone repeatedly. The rest of the song, unfortunately, is good. Like, it's this darker pop sound. Like, it's a good song, but the chorus just absolutely ruins it for me. That said, I would like to take this moment with their first comeback to actually talk about something different. I could have made another slide for this in retrospect. We're here, whatever. Just B's versatility. Just B, more than I would say with other groups, really likes to play around with their sound. I have covered groups in my history of that essentially have three sounds, and every single title track they have is one of those three sounds. For Just B, their title tracks range from like regular pop songs, like a boy group pop song from Fourth Jet, and that loud, more hip hop sound, right? They have punk rock titles, they have ballads, they have EDM hyperpop, and again, that's just with their title. I just feel like this is something that I wanted to bring up like really early on. That's why it's in the notes so early on, even when right now their sound has not changed that dramatically between their first two albums, simply because that's not something we see a lot in K-pop. We don't see this sort of playing around with your sound in the modern day. Most groups really have like two or three core sounds that they bounce between. Really, most K-pop boy group songs could be categorized into like one of three sounds, and that isn't true for Just B, and that's something that's really interesting to me. That's something I really like about them as artists, is the fact that they aren't afraid to sort of mix up their sound. Even when something does well, they are not afraid to just be like, you know what, we want to do something else now, and they do something else. I've said before, I think it was in my Hypin video, where I've stanned groups where their worst song becomes by far their biggest hit, and then that is the sound they try and replicate over and over and over again, but it was never a good sound. Even a group like Yoto Chingu, a group whose discography I love, if I sit down and I listen to their first like 4 albums straight through, they do kind of like, groups that make one or two sounds over and over again can get tiring to listen to, and that isn't something that applies to Just B, because again, they are always playing with their sound. Anyway, let's talk numbers now, because TikTok saw a pretty sharp drop across the board from Damage, which doesn't make sense when you take into account the reasons that I pointed out as to why I think Damage did so well. YouTube numbers for TikTok did stay pretty strong. The music video currently has around 10 million views, which is good for a group like Just B. Yes, it is a drop from Damage, but in comparison to other numbers and the way they dropped, this is not their biggest failure. Yeah, let's talk Spotify now. Totally unrelated. Spotify did not do well. This song did not do well on Spotify. It currently has around 1.2 million streams, roughly a quarter of what their last single got. Turning our focus now to the B-sides, this album would have 2 new songs on it in addition to the title. Both of them are good, however, I would like to point out neither one really hit me in the way the title track did. However, because I do have to pick a golden B-side, I'm giving it to the album's closer, Try. I don't love this song. It's definitely a sound other groups have done better. The other thing that really holds it back for me is just the knowledge that Just B has made like goated songs in the future, and this one by comparison just doesn't hit me in the same way as some other ones. Anyway, promotions for TikTok would run for around a month, which is typical Just B, and really just of the era. A month of promotions is pretty normal for a group like this. So they promoted for a month, but that's about it for 2021. So why don't we take a little break? We're going to take a little retrospective. Okay. Hi, welcome to the retrospective corner, and I have thoughts on Just B in 2021. I've said forever now that standing a new group is so psychologically important to keep yourself in check, and I'm going to expand on that actually. I think for me personally, making these deep dives for new groups, or just not massively popular groups, is good for me, because I have to keep reminding myself when I was making this video, I was like, this isn't EXO, this isn't Hypin, this isn't a group that's gonna pull in these major numbers, right? Like, we're talking about Just B. For a group like Just B, getting 10 million views on your music video is insane work. Aside from that, though, like, I do believe that Just B was doing really well in 2021, right? Like, for their debut year, for your brand new group from a brand new company, like, yes, they had Lowen backing them, but the general public didn't know that. Like, that was something I learned in making this video. People didn't seem to realize that this was, like, a big label group. The only fan base Just B had backing them was theoretically mainly the 1-9 stands who liked Doyeon. And even then, 1-9 was not pulling in numbers like Just B. 1-9's best-selling album was their debut, which sold 20,000, and by the end of their career, they were not even clearing 10. Like, they weren't a group like AB6 or Gravity, where you had like an established fan base going in. This was essentially building from nothing, and they were doing really well when you take that into account. And things really would only get better in 2022, so let's go get into it. Alrighty, who is ready for our first full year of Just Be? I know I am, but also I know that the first few months of this year are pretty quiet, so we're gonna jump ahead. Okay, April 14th, we would get Just Begun, the group's second mini album, along with its lead single, Reload. And right off the bat, this thing sold insanely well by Just Be standards. It would sell nearly double what their last album sold, clearing 50,000 copies, which I know does not sound like a lot, but for a frame of reference, their first two albums combined sold around 50,000 copies, meaning this thing alone more than doubled their cumulative album sales. The one downside, it peaked at number 11. It peaked just outside the top 10, which does kind of suck in my mind. I feel like peaking just outside the top 10 is just like the most annoying place to be. But also, I'll take a doubling your album sales more than a top 10. So like, I'm not too upset. And then there's the title track. I would say Reload did a little better than TikTok, not by a huge jump. Like, they have similar YouTube numbers. They both have around 10 million views on the music. Spotify did, however, see a jump. Not a massive one by any means, but this got 1.5 million streams. So, a bit of an increase. We're doing a little better. Musically, meanwhile, I would consider this sort of like a reverse TikTok to me. You may recall I hated the TikTok chorus, but I did really like the verses. This song has an incredible chorus, okay? Easily the best chorus in Just Be's catalog up until this point. I don't love the verses. Then there's the B-sides. Can I be honest with you? I don't like this album very much. Here's the thing. We've established Just Be plays around with their sound. We've established that I like that Just Be plays around with their sound. There are downsides to that. The downside being this album. This is, by far, sonically speaking, their most fourth-gen boy group sounding thing, right? Like, the choruses are all really shouty, which I really don't like. That isn't even to say that these songs are, like, terrible. They pretty much all across the board have really good verses. The choruses are just so fourth-gen boy group-esque, like, they're so shouty, and maybe we need to calm down. Speaking of calming down, there's one exception to the shoutiness on this album, and that is our Golden B-side, and the album's closer, Lights On. This is sort of this just like chill ballad vibe. It's really nice. Promotions for this album, as expected, ran for around a month, and after that things got quiet again, so once more we will be fast forwarding just a little bit. So, October. October would get us a tour. That is right, in October, Just Be went to Canada. They performed 3 concerts and 2 fan signs between Vancouver and Toronto. And here's the thing. I am a Seattle girl, right? I have gone to concerts in Vancouver. It's not an uncommon thing for me to go to a concert in Vancouver. I've done it. That's where I saw DAP. That's where I saw Shiny. Like, dare I say, some of my favorite concerts were in Vancouver. So, like, theoretically, a Vancouver concert is not out of the realm of possibility for me to go to. Which begged the question, why didn't I go to this? Because, like, it's in Vancouver. I even asked the bestie. My main theory is this. I didn't care enough about Just Be. Here's the thing. I was a 1 to 9 stan, which means Doyum did intrigue me. Like, I would have been nice to see him. I'm pretty sure he was the bestie's fave in 1 to 9, actually. So, like, the optics were there, we'll say. I just think that it's like, for 3 hours each way in 2022, Just Be was not enough of a draw. Now, I would be driving 6 hours each way to see Chess Live, and I think we all know that, and I think that is the right and moral answer. However, at the time, their catalog just didn't really motivate me in that way. Catalog aside, my other guess for why I didn't go is simply that the bestie said no, and I didn't want to go solo, so I didn't go. Like, here's the thing. 3 hours each way is a lot. 3 hours solo each way is a lot. So, like, the bestie probably said no, and I didn't go. Either way, the bright side, I should say, even if I didn't go, is that other people went. A, we got a tour out of it, but more importantly, it means there was an audience for Just Be to tour, right? Like, there are groups that don't tour in America because they don't have fans in America. Not so much anymore, but, like, when I was getting into K-pop, like, you would never see a group like B1A4 launching, like, a whole entire American, like, I say this, actually, now that I say this, I'm pretty sure B1A4 did tour America. Bad example. But, like, the point is, smaller groups weren't gonna tour America at the time because it wasn't profitable. This was not that. Like, Just Be had an audience here, which is really good to hear. And Just Be did not waste time following their tour, almost immediately releasing then the group's third mini album along with its lead single, Me. And this was another excellent seller for Just Be. It would sell 55,000 copies, becoming the group's highest selling release to date, and becoming their highest charting release to date, where it peaked at number 7 on the GOM charts. And then there's the title track. Me would mark the group's 4th consecutive release to clear 10 million views on YouTube.com. Yes, I would love to see them like outperforming past singles, but I will take stability. Like a stable 10 million views is good. Same thing with Spotify. The song has 1.3 million streams over on Spotify, which is technically a drop, but it's like within the margin of what I have unilaterally decided is like good Just Be numbers. And then there's the title track. This is their first great title. Me is by far the most toned down thing they've put out, and after their last 2 singles, I greatly appreciate that. Plus, the music has this like soft rock vibe to it that I'm really into, and the verses are just excellent. The rest of the album, though, I don't want to say they put everything into the title, but it is the best song on here. That said, this is better than their last album, right? Like, their last album I did not enjoy. This is much more like non-generic 4th gen sounds that I do really like. However, for the second album in a row, I'm giving the album's golden B-side to the closer, this song. It's another like chill ballady vibe. It's really pretty and I really like it. However, the rest of 2022 would be spent promoting the album, so we're gonna go back to the retrospective corner. Okay, 2022. Honestly, a pretty great year for Just Be. Like, they tripled their cumulative album sales, they went on tour, they were doing really well. Also, not that I don't have any fondness for their 2021 singles, but 2022 is where their music gets a lot better. We get their first really good B-sides, we get a great title. Like, obviously, Chest, the best song ever, was not released, but we were definitely making progress musically, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I am filming this in 2025, which means I know what 2023 holds for Just Be. So, let's go talk about that. Okay, 2023. An interesting year, to say the least. But we begin our year with concerts. Just Be would head over to Mexico and perform 2 shows there at the end of January. Then, on Valentine's Day, we would get Just Be With You Part 1, which contained the song MBTI. It was a digital single album, so it was just a song, but that song is a collaboration with singer Alexa. I assume there were meant to be more of these in the future, because it says Part 1. Unfortunately, it didn't do too great. It got like standard Just Be Spotify streams, maybe a little lower. It has around 1 million, so pretty normal for them. Again, within the range of what I've unilaterally decided is good. However, YouTube is a different story. This music video has around 5 million views, roughly half of what all their other videos got. Basically, it did do numbers, which I find interesting, just like a little bit. I feel like this is the type of collaboration that would have a lot of crossover appeal, like the Alexa fans and the Just Be stans would both stream it, and it would have more numbers. Unfortunately, it did not. That said, I do get it. It's a fine song, but like, both of these artists have better songs. Like, for example, me personally, I've heard this song probably 3 times in my entire life, and I know at least 2 of those were in making this video. Just Be also did not promote this song whatsoever, and then actually did the opposite. They went on hiatus. Not hiatus, like they took a little break after it came out. So, we're gonna jump ahead to April 12th, when Just Be would release Camellia. It is a ballad composed by Doyo. And here's the thing, this song is really fucking good. I've always been a ballad girl. I may be a pop lover to my core, but I can absolutely get behind a ballad, and this song is gorgeous. Like, this song is so beautiful. I actually completely forgot it existed before I started making this video. I've since streamed it extensively. Unfortunately, while I may love this song, the girls did not. This thing has around 300,000 streams on Spotify. And once more, I do get it. Like, the thing with idol boy groups in particular, specifically 4th gen idol boy groups, I should say, is that the girls really like albums. That's where 4th gen boy groups in particular thrived with their album sales. So, like, the girls want albums, and the girls don't want ballads from a group like Just Be. So, like, I do get why this song flopped, but again, it is phenomenal. If you enjoy ballads, I would highly recommend it. Also, just like with their last single, Just Be didn't promote this song very much, which certainly did not help the fact that it didn't do too great. They would do some other stuff over the next few months, like they appeared at some big concerts and festivals, but there's nothing that I feel like discussing, so we're fast forwarding again. So, jumping ahead to August, we would get Tasty, the group's next digital single. And here's the thing, I actually did not know this song existed before I made this video, and I looked at this album cover that you can see, right? I had an expectation of what this song was going to be based solely off this album cover before I listened to it. I thought it was going to be bright and cutesy and childish, for lack of a better term. And I was dead wrong, okay? Like, I don't think I could have been more incorrect in my assumption. This is an R&B song. This song is good. It's not great. It does not hit like their last single does, but it is good, and I do like it, and I'm glad I now know it exists. Downside, let's just say I was not alone in not knowing this song was a thing, because this song did not do well. This song does not have 100,000 streams on Spotify, right? Like, this song flopped existentially, and when you bring back what I was saying about what the girls want from a group like Just Be, the girls want albums. Like, fourth gen boy groups, with a few exceptions, they didn't thrive with digital singles, which meant at the rate people were going, they were gonna forget about Just Be real quick. Because as far as the general public was aware, Just Be had not released anything since November of the year prior. Anyway, September would get us the release of Paradise, an OST for CEO Dalmart, and I need someone to explain to me why this is kind of the best thing Just Be has released up until this point in their career. Like, remember what I was saying about Just Be and their sound and trying different things? This is the time they tried actual pop music, right? Like, not boy group pop, not what, like, Stray Kids does. I'm talking what, like, Tux does when I say pop music. This was their time doing that. It's bright, it's fun, it's catchy. I literally sat in shock the first time I heard it because it's so good. The only downside of this song is the raps. The raps are not ideal, to say the least, but aside from that, this song is absolute perfection. And then, not long after the release of Paradise, we would be greeted to the announcement of another Just Be album, their first release in almost a year, and on October 9th, that dream came true, with the group releasing Nanugi, their fourth mini album. And remember when I said the girls were gonna forget that Just Be existed? Yeah, this album sold 20,000 copies, their lowest selling album to date, and their lowest peaking. It peaked at number 21 on the Gaon album charts. It is worth noting, they did kind of barely promote this thing. Like, old Just Be albums would get easily a month, right? Like, I kept pointing out to you that they would promote the album for around a month. There's a reason for that. The reason is this release. They promoted this thing. Technically, they appeared on what I can only describe as like a random spattering of shows, and that's it. Like, this thing did not get a full promotional cycle, which definitely did not help the fact that it was kind of floundering. Thankfully, the album's title track, Medusa, did manage to sort of stay around the same levels of success that Just Be had had with their other album-based singles. That said, it didn't do great on Spotify. It has around 900,000 streams, which would be great for some artists. However, Just Be is a group that was consistently clearing 1 million, so we're not doing too great over there. Thankfully, YouTube actually got a boost. This music video has 11 million views in total, actually making it their second most viewed music video. I'm sure Jimin ripping his shirt off at the Mamas had nothing to do with this boost. Instead, I'm gonna say this boost is because this song is like really fucking good. Like, this song is easily their best title in my opinion. It doesn't hurt that the chorus is amazing and this song is like 70% chorus, but also like the bridge is this insane electric guitar moment. Like, in general, the song just slaps. However, it's not just the title, right? Like, this is the first album we've reached where I would really say, like, this is a great album, right? Like, Youth. Where's Youth? Youth. You're over here. Youth has some of the best raps we've heard from Just Be, with an incredible chorus on top of that. And Coming Home, where's Coming Home? Coming Home is this rock banger that hits so perfectly. Plus, Kylie is back here. And as we've established, I fucking love her. However, my golden B-side, dare I say by a wide margin, is Paper Plane. That song, okay? That is the first time that Just Be experiments with more of a hyper pop sound, and it is everything, okay? It is just this like fun little cute romp in a pop landscape, and I love it so bad. Also, I know I keep bringing it up because it is sort of the through line of this video, but Just Be playing around with their sound, right? Like, that is embodied in this album. There are K-pop albums out there, I'm not gonna name names, but I am thinking of artists where, like, all the fucking songs sound the same. Like, every song sounds more or less the same. And cohesion can be good, but then there are things like this, right? Like, we have rock, we have ballads, we have EDM hyperpop, all just on this one album, and all of it is amazing. And then, to close out the year, we would get I Love You, Merry Christmas, a Christmas single. This is another ballad. We've established I like Just Be's ballads, so like I do like it, but more importantly, it's a Christmas ballad. Now, I'm making this video in June. Again, happy Pride, happy June. I'm sure if it was like November, December, this would hit even more for me, because for those who don't know, I love Christmas. I love Christmas music, and I kind of can't wait to re-experience this song when I'm in the Christmas mindset. And that's 2023. That's all I got for the year. So, back to the retrospective corner we go. So, 2023 was not a great year for Just Be. I was thinking about it when I was making this video and making these notes. And I was thinking about how 2023 is so interesting for me personally, because it's sort of the year that the first incarnation of Just Be, dare I say, died off, and the incarnation that I know and love really came into fruition. Like, this is when they started releasing more variety of sounds with their titles. This is when they started dropping more digital singles. And it's also when they kind of lost the vast majority of their fan base. Basically, I would argue 2023 is the year that Just Be really became the for the art, not the charts girls that we know them as, or at least that I know them as, right? Because I talked about this earlier. There's a reason boy groups don't really do digital singles all that often, and when they do, they tend not to do too great. Even like really big fourth gen boy groups, if they drop a digital single, it kind of flounders because boy groups in fourth gen specifically were album sales girls. Like, third gen and fifth gen boy groups definitely have digital charting powers amongst their ranks. Fourth gen, that is not the case. Fourth gen boy groups sold albums like crazy. They did not do well digitally. And I just think it's so interesting that Just Be in 2023 really sort of abandoned that typical route, because not only did they stop doing the typical boy group thing of making albums, they stopped doing the typical boy group sound that was really common amongst fourth gen boy groups. Like, if you think about Just Be in 2021 and 2022, they weren't by any means a top tier boy group, but they were moderately popular. They got pretty good album sales, they got solid and consistent streaming numbers, and spoilers, they don't have that going forward. Like, the Nanugi album is the last album I'm going to discuss that is a physical release for this entire video. They do not release a physical album for the rest of their career. It's also worth noting, the promotional run for Medusa, I'm pretty sure, is the last time they went on a music show. To my knowledge, they don't promote their upcoming titles on music shows anymore, which sort of feeds into my concept that this is when they really abandoned their idol boy group image and became, I dare I say, something different. Like, because again, idol groups typically do, maybe even the biggies will do like 1 or 2 weeks of a run on music shows. And Just Be not only abandoned the typical idol route of making albums and switched to more digital releases, they also abandoned the promotional cycle that had built the idol system. I don't know, I think it's interesting. But with that, let's talk about 2024. Okay, 2024, our final full year to discuss. And unfortunately, it's a light one. However, our first thing to discuss for 2024 is the Mnet show Bluedot that both Gonu and Bane were on. The show would run from January through March, however, neither member would make it into the final lineup. Also, this image did insane things to my brain. I need that known. Anyway, it's fine neither member made it into the final lineup, because right after the show ended, they would launch their Just Be With You tour. They would show up in North and South America, with the tour running from mid through the end of March, and shows in places like LA, Puerto Rico, Sao Paulo. And then, on May 22nd, we would get Daddy's Girl. It's the latest digital single from Just Be at the time, and truly one of my all-time favorites. It's this messy, campy, punk pop song, and I love it so bad. Like, she is indeed a daddy's girl, and they are indeed broke-ass fake punk singer wannabes. Like, I can't even be mad that this song flopped because it's so fun. Like, I don't care. I'm gatekeeping this song, if anything. Like, I don't want the girls to find it and to corrupt it in my mind. Like, I'm happy with what it is because what it is just so dear to my heart. Jumping ahead to June, we would get Road to Kingdom, Ace of Ace, the latest installment of the Kingdom, or I guess now Road to Kingdom franchise, because they said it's going to be their own thing. It was the latest installment, right? And it would feature Just B. Kind of. See, Just B would team up with Atbo. Remember, like an hour ago when I talked about their link up with Atbo? I was talking about this. They would link up to form the Crew One, a joint group that would together compete on Road to Kingdom. Now, here's the thing. I have covered a decent number of, like, Kingdom and Queendom alums, we'll call it. And with every single one that I discussed, that also I was able to discuss the aftermath of their time on the show, all of them got this huge boost of success following their time on the show. The thing is, no one watched this season. To be fair, I didn't even watch this season. Like, I did not watch this season of Kingdom, and no one else did either. For a frame of reference, Gravity did worse after going on this season. Like, their next album sold less than the one before it. And in general, you might have been watching this, right? Like, you might have been like, oh, Road to Kingdom. Road to Kingdom is good because you've seen my, like, Giddle video or something where I talked about how Queendom blew the group up, right? You would be mistaken in assuming that this was a good thing for Just B because no one fucking watched this show. The Crew One would technically continue to exist after the end of Road to Kingdom. Like, it technically existed through December, which is conveniently when Lowen sold IST. That's the label Appo is under. They sold IST off. And then that obviously meant the end of the Crew One. The Crew One also didn't really do anything as a group aside from Road to Kingdom. So, like, there's nothing to talk about. I'm also not doing a retrospective for this year. Nothing happened. Okay? Nothing of note, I should really say, happened. They released a flop single, went on a tour, went on a show. That's all you missed. We're moving to 2025. So, 2025, the current year as of me filming this video. And we waste no time, because on January 5th, we got Still I Love You, the group's latest digital single, as well as their first release in around 9 months. As expected, this song didn't do well. Just V very much has stopped being, like, any sense of a successful, I guess I'd say, artist. Not successful. In comparison to their original, like, run of releases, like, their first 2 years, their next 2 years were just less successful. Like, this song has 200,000 streams on Spotify. I think we can all agree from a group whose debut pulled in 5 million, 200,000 is not ideal. That said, this is another great song, musically speaking. It's still punky, but it brings in elements of hip-hop and regular rock, and it has great raps. The music is phenomenal. It's another great song. This was quickly followed by the release of Quotes, which came out on February. Also, quick thing before I continue, this is apparently technically called double quotes, and I don't know why. Because, like, that's one set of quotes. Like, that's one quotation mark, I guess I'd call it. I've always called it quote or quotes in my head. Apparently, its legal name is double quotes. Anyway, the title track, Hangoraman, it's amazing, okay? It's this darker, more toned down, dare I say more depressed sound, but, like, it hits so perfectly. Of their, like, really not pop songs, like the ballads, that kind of vibe, this is easily my favorite. There is also technically a B-side on this thing. It's Hoodie. It's not like they promoted either one, but, like, technically the B-side is Hoodie, which does make it our de facto golden B-side. I will say, it's weaker than the title. I actually don't love it all that much. It's kind of just a song for me, but it is the only other song on here. That same month, at the end of February, we would get the Always and Forever fan meets in Tokyo and Osaka, but worry not, we will be back in Japan quite soon. First, though, we have Just Odd, the group's first digital mini-album, released on March 28th, and led by the iconic, the legend herself, Chest. I don't think anyone can truly understand the deep psychological impact that Chest has on me. For some context, okay? Chest is my most streamed song this year. I listened to it probably 4 or 5 times per week since it came out, okay? It's just, not only is this my favorite Just Be title, not only is this my favorite Just Be song, this is like top 3 boy group songs released in 2025. It's nothing short of hyperpop excellence, okay? The chorus is just phenomenal. The music is the best, if you ask me, in Just Be's catalog, or at least like my favorite, if nothing else. If I was giving a golden music, background music award, it would go to this song. The only negative thing I can say about it is that I don't love the second verse, but the good just so completely outweighs the bad. It is also doing quite well for the group. Over on Spotify, it already has more than 500,000 streams, making it the group's most streamed song since Medusa. And like, I love to see it. I want everyone to stream this song. The song deserves 500 billion streams. Like, it deserves to be the most streamed song known to man. Like, I think it's at that level. However, not only do we have a goated title, we have B-sides. 3 of them, to be exact. I will concede, I don't like one song on here, but Bullet is actually really good. Maybe not really good, but it's good. I like it. It's more of like, I want to see more of what Just We can do with this kind of sound. However, for our final golden B-side of the video, I'm giving it to the album's opener, Kid. I don't know what it is about this song. It hooks me, okay? It has me enthralled. It does remind me of something, and I don't know what it reminds me of, but it drives me a little bit crazy. It's truly just like, it's one of the best opening songs I've heard from a boy group album in a hot minute. Also, remember how I said we'd be back in Japan? Let's jump back to Japan, because in promotion of their new album, Just B would embark on the Just Odd tour, which began with 2 shows in Japan right after the album's release. This was followed by an entire American leg, some shows in Canada, and, notably, a show in Seattle on April 16th. I was supposed to go to this. Actually, wasn't it the 14th? Am I going crazy? Hold on. Okay, upon further research, it is the 16th. I don't know why my notes say the 14th. I should have trusted this, the poster for the show that I wanted to go to. Anyway, I didn't go. You may recall the opening of the video, or if you were just watching my content in most of April, you may recall I was ill in April. I was conveniently ill for this show. I got sick like 2 days before it. So I didn't go to it, and I'm still really, really sad. It is also during this tour, specifically the group's LA concert, where Bane, our lovely main vocal, would come out as gay, again, followed by a whole Instagram post. This was actually really well received by both fans of the group and other idols. There were a lot of people posting support for Bane following his coming out, and we love to see it. I will say, I forget which media source it was. I could find out, and I don't care to because they were wrong. Someone was like, he's the 3rd ever Korean singer to come out, and everyone was like, are you good? No, he's not. He's not. He's not the 3rd one. He is still part of that, like, early wave of it, I guess I'd say. I'd say I'd like to foresee that in, like, 20 years we're gonna get a lot more of that. But, like, who knows? For now, though, he is one of the first, but he's not the 3rd. Anyway. That's all I got for this video. This tour wrapped up a little over a month ago now as of me filming this, so that officially means that this has been the history of Just B. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I sometimes forget. I feel like after the last couple of videos, even with Enhypen, and then before that I did like groups that I loved for so long, sometimes I forget how fun it is to A, do a group that I don't know that well, and B, do a new group. Doing nugus are so fun. I've always been of the opinion that like standing a nugu is good for your psyche because it keeps you in check. And it's so fun to do, okay? Like, I love making these videos. I really do. I feel like this has been, like, I've done 3 in a month, which is a bit much for me. But, like, even so, they're so fun. I love making these. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment whatever you want to comment in the comment section. Be normal. But aside from that, comment whatever you want. You can like and subscribe if you want to or don't. I will be okay either way. In the description, I am going to put my History Of playlist. I've made a decent number of them. However, my main bulk has been in the past, like, year and a half. They've all been slideshows. Like, if you enjoy the slideshow vibe, start from my History of Miss A and go forward. That's when I started doing slideshows. Other than that, though, yeah, I think that's all I got for you. So thank you again for watching. Bye!